Good afternoon or good evening, good morning if you're watching this not live. I hope everybody's having a good time wherever you are. Wanted to talk a little bit about social media in general, in particular, algorithms and terminology and all this stuff you hear all the time and why it matters and what it's good for. So, first, let's talk a little bit about just social media in general, right? Because it gets a bad rap. It gets sort of dunked on by everybody and told, oh, it's only good for this, it's only good for that, it's got this drawback, it's got that drawback. Anything in the world has a drawback. Anything in the world has pluses, has minuses, has good stuff, bad stuff, ugly stuff, whatever you want to call it. But what does some of it all mean? Well, first off, engagement rate is something you hear about quite a lot. But what is engagement? What does engagement rate on a social media profile actually mean? Well, if you go to any platform, whether it's X or YouTube or TikTok or wherever, what you'll see is you'll have your feed, or you'll have your posts, or you'll have the posts of the people you follow, depending on what part of the system you're looking at. And let's pull it up here. There we go. So this is the posts I've put on X today. And there we are live. It's a little delayed, but there we are. What engagement means is if you've posted something like this post right here, where you can see the very dirty dog about to get a bath, and as you can see, he clearly believes he's being tortured. And if you play the audio on this one, it's not pretty. He's very unhappy about getting a bath. Now, what the heck does engagement really mean? Well, engagement is somebody who clicked like, left a comment, reposted it. So you see, all of these are engagements. All of these are people who left a comment. Those qualify as engagements. Here's another video I did earlier today. That one didn't have too many engagements on it. But also, as you'll see, the fewer engagements, the fewer views that something gets. So that's been seen by 84 people, but it's also been engaged with by nobody, because apparently nobody cared about my favorite TV moments, which kind of hurts me a little bit, but hey, that's okay. More Cowbell is one of the two top favorite TV moments, if you're curious. But this one, you'll see it was posted later. It's only been around for 4 hours. This one's been around for 5, but it's been seen by 500 people, but it has engagements, whereas this one does not. So the key to being seen by a larger and larger and larger number of people is engaging posts. And I have posts that will go far beyond my number of followers, because engagement rate was high. So here's one that was engaged pretty well. You see a couple hundred. Here's one that was engaged very well. You see 2,500. This one I thought was funny. Nika, long story, basketball thing. This one has been seen by 677, but look, engagement is up. So engagement does matter, right? See, this one had a lot of engagement, been seen by 1,800. This one, not much engagement, seen by 300. Engagement rate truly, truly matters. I had one yesterday. I'm going to find, because I thought it was funny that it went as far as it did. Here we go. I play Dungeons & Dragons. Some of you may see me. I play online on Tuesday night on a different channel. There's a saying in Dungeons & Dragons, don't just murder people discriminately. It's a make-believe game. You're not really murdering anybody. And the phrase is murder hobo. So I was repeating, I will not murder hobo. I will not murder hobo. But look at the engagement rate. See, 567 likes, 143 comments, 25 replies. I thought, 3 bookmarks, but 12,600 views. That's a few more than I have followers on X. So engagement rate truly matters. In fact, if you want to be seen by a large number of people, engagement rate is the only thing that matters. The rest of it is sort of who cares? You can have a large following, but if nobody's engaging with it, you're only going to be talking to your following, and not even all of them. You're going to be speaking into largely an echo chamber. So engaging content is king. Doesn't matter what it is. So I looked at some industry surveys today, and I do own a social media company, full disclosure. I'm not talking about my company. I'm just talking about social media trends in general. But I was pulling up something by this group called Rival IQ, which is basically a research firm. But what they did was they looked at 4 platforms. They looked at, let me find it, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. But the median across, they were looking at engagement across all industries. But if you look at it, Facebook's engagement is really low. It's less than 0.5%. Shows you how often people post, different things on how different industries are perceived. Instagram, it's better. The engagement rate on Instagram is better. Still not really all that great, right? Still less than 0.5%. So out of 200 people that see your post, maybe one will interact with it. So really, you got to get to about 300 to guarantee one interaction on Instagram. So how many posts per week, all that kind of stuff. So Instagram posts versus engagement, it'll tell you sort of which industry does better. Individuals, you don't really care, right? Because you're just talking to either a hobby group, maybe you've got a company, maybe you're an author, maybe you're a creator of some kind, you're trying to get your product seen. Well, it's difficult to do with those kinds of engagement rates because we just saw engagement is king. Engagement is the only thing that matters. Now, Twitter engagement rate per tweet across all industries, that is horrible, 0.015%. If you do better than that, you are beating industry averages. Let's go see what I'm doing. Premium analytics. I am running across the last, let's just pull 3 months. 3 months, 4.4%. So I'm doing better than the industry average. If you go look at the last year, 4.5%. Okay, so I'm consistently beating the market, right? So I'm doing quite well on X, and I can make the same claims on other platforms because I use the right tools and I try to have engaging content. By the way, if you have a question, just feel free to leave it in the chat. I'll be happy to try to answer as many as I can. But that shows you how people tweet. Now, what gets the best engagement? What the heck drives you up, right? So look at this. So TikTok actually has a 1.73% engagement. TikTok's a very engaging platform. People on there love to engage. But on the different platforms, what is it that drives that engagement? Well, Facebook photos drive it. But remember, Facebook is a much different platform. It really is driven by people that you know or people that you purposely go follow. It's not really shoving you stuff too often that you don't necessarily opt into. So photos, it kind of makes sense that would do pretty well over there. Now on Twitter, video, if you look at Instagram, somewhere on here, it has the Instagram answer. It's video. If you're not doing video and you want to grow, you're not growing, right? Because the only place that makes a difference is Facebook. Everywhere else you'll see is reel or carousel or video. See, video is king. Video is absolute king. And short form video is really where all the growth comes from. Now, Twitter has a very strict time limit on videos. It's getting longer than it was. It used to be very, very short. Now, if you have a blue check mark, it's much better. I think it's still short if you don't have the blue check mark, but it's better than it was. TikTok, I think, is 10 minutes. YouTube has 2 different versions of videos. It has their long form video and the short form. Short form, I think, is limited to 3 minutes. Now, the short form video is where, for my channel, all my growth comes from. So let's go look at my channel on the analytics section. So this is my personal channel over here on YouTube. Excuse me. This is why you do things live with no editing, right? So you can choke on something. And have to grab a drink or you won't be able to talk. So, YouTube, right? So if you look at it, I've got so many views across the last 28 days, so many watch hours, subscribers. But here's my subscriber growth, right? I'm pretty solid every day, grabbing 50, 80. And then all of a sudden I bump up here to over 100. Well, throughout here, I was posting long form video and maybe the occasional short video. Over here, where I've gone up by my growth rate has gone up by almost 50%. What I'm doing is making sure to post a short form video, a YouTube short every day, and maybe a long form video. Sometimes I do 2 short term videos. All the growth is coming off of short video segments. And if you think about it, that kind of makes sense, right? Because a lot of YouTube videos can get out to 5 and 10 and 15 minutes. And if you don't know the channel or if you're new to it, you might look at that and say, well, gee, that's really long. I'm not sure I really want to watch a video that's 10, 15 minutes long of somebody I don't really know very well. Now, but the short form video gives somebody sort of like a preview, right? So it's sort of like that preview of a movie that you haven't seen. So YouTube Shorts are really where the growth is coming from, and that's why I'm seeing 100. And yesterday I saw 110 new subscribers, 102 new subscribers, 110. 137. Way back here I had 200. So it's that short form video that's really driving that growth over on YouTube. And it doesn't have to be anything, more than 45 seconds, 50 seconds, just something like, hey, my name's Tim. Here's what I talk about today. I want to, talk about whatever. So I had a really short form video the other day. I was sitting in my car waiting for my daughter inside Target. I have a 12-year-old daughter. She had a gift card. She wanted to go in and get something. I wasn't allowed to go in with her because I'm dad. So I had to wait in the car. So I did a video about fathers and daughters and how now I'm relegated to the car because she doesn't want to be seen in public with me, which is fine. She's 12. I get it. But I'll be cool again someday. Now, what else drives a video being seen, right? So we've covered that, short form is where growth comes from, but what gets a video seen? Well, getting a video seen really takes interaction. Somebody has to, so if you look at some of my videos, so here's one's got 1,900 views, 160 something views, a bunch of likes, but not terribly many comments. This one's got 5 comments. So this one has 5 comments. It's important that when you get these comments, let's go look at my shorts. When you get these comments, you answer them. So people do like it when you actually answer their comments. So let's go and take that filter out. Okay. So like this one, I did this video I put on both X and on YouTube. And it basically was, hey, here's a couple of my favorite TV moments. They make me feel better when I think about them. What are your favorite TV moments? And sure enough, showing up in the comments are people's favorite TV moments. My favorite were More Cowbell from SNL. If you haven't seen that, just Google More Cowbell video and it's hilarious stuff. Years and years ago, from Christopher Walken and Chris Kattan and some others were involved in that one. The other one for me was a Showtime show called Billions, which was a very funny show. But my 2 favorite TV moments, and people brought up others and they're leaving them in the comments, right? So that drives engagement. Engagement will drive views. The more views, the more people see your channel, the more successful you are at the social media world. Now, the other thing I tell people, at least for our clientele, on our company side, is if you're going to build content that has some kind of a call to action or something that, hey, I want you to subscribe to our service. I want you to buy this book. I want you to buy this RPG, whatever it is. You can't just talk about spam. It can't just be one giant commercial for your company. You've got to talk about things that people relate to, people are interested in. So like I like to talk about books and streaming shows because I read a lot. I have tinnitus, so I tend to leave something on in the background for background noise. So I tend to watch streaming shows. It is what it is. So I was commenting about Zero Day on Netflix, which was a new show to the moon and Mars in 1995. This was an article out of an old magazine that was reorganizing stuff. And, a bunch of people commented. This particular one was about Reacher Season 1, book versus the series. Very good book, very good series. 1,900 people decided to watch that one. Here's one that had 9,000 people watch it and 4 comments and a bunch of likes, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, see, there's that engagement again. 215 likes and 9,000 views, right? So you see these others with smaller numbers of likes and smaller engagement, smaller views. The more engagement, the more the algorithm likes you, the more you're going to get seen. Engagement is king. That makes engaging content matter more than anything else on the planet. These analytics are very important. So I'm going to flip over here. This is my company. I own it. I'm just pulling up the analytics section so we can take a look over here because we organize things a little bit differently. And there's a bunch of third-party apps you can go out and look at how you're doing. But what it lets you do is go off and sort of organize things a little bit differently to maybe pull them up in a way that are different. Maybe it's easier for you to tell what's going on here, and you can gain insights into your post using third-party apps like mine. that tell you your best day to post, your best frequency to post. So remember when I told you about posting a short and a long form video? YouTube algorithm likes me better when I post twice daily. And what it does is it gives you more reach. So it's calculating that reach and tells me twice daily is much better than once daily. Yeah, there it is. So I get a much better reach when I have twice daily, almost 50% more. So over here, what's your best day? Well, Wednesday and Thursday are kind of tied. I can kind of go with either one, but Thursday is my best day, which is tomorrow. I've got some content I'm saving for tomorrow. So these sorts of things matter, right? What are your demographics? Break it apart. Where have I got men, women? What age groups are they in? Those sorts of things, that matters. You can organize your posts and go look at which ones did well, which ones did poorly. Take the ones that did the best and try to focus on that, right? Look at how you're growing over time. All of these things are truly what's important if you're trying to grow a social media presence. And like I said, you cannot just be a spam account where you're like, "Ooh, buy my book, buy my book." Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to follow you. Now, back to best practices. But remember, a lot of times on different platforms, certain things will matter with sometimes you can get away with just posting text. Image matters, videos matter, better quality videos matter. You certainly want to have it framed. You certainly want to have something semi-professional. You don't want to necessarily be a complete amateur. But make sure your posts are visually appealing and you're not posting fuzzy images or anything. Because remember, that engagement rate, the higher that engagement rate, the more people are going to see it, right? So 1,500 views, higher engagement rate, fewer views, fewer engagements, 600 views. So these things do matter. One engagement, 255 views. So that's not, wasn't a very engaging post. But that's the trick. Content is king. You can say it's the algorithm all day long, but if you're not putting out engaging content and users aren't engaging with it, the algorithm's going to push you down. It's not going to be seen. It's going to give you a shot. It's going to put you in there a little bit, and say, "Hey, look, are people going to like this? Or are people not going to like this?" But if the answer is no, guess what? It's not going to be seen by anybody. It's going to bury it because it wants to see that engagement. The tools I have out there at my company, which is One for All Social, it's o4a.com. We have all kinds of tools to help you grow. There's all kinds of tutorials for our stuff online. The one thing I can tell you is that each platform is a little bit different. So what you post on one will not work on another. Let me see if I can find the demographics by social media platform 2024. All right. Now, social media fact sheet from the Pew Research Center. Yeah. So, how many users use each one? How big is a different platform? What are the age ranges of people on those different platforms? Who are you trying to reach? Men, women. All these things matter when you're trying to pick out which platforms to be active on. One thing I can tell you from experience of building out several platforms, several accounts of my own now that have north of 10,000 followers on several different platforms, is be active on as many platforms as you can. I know that's a pain, and that's one of the reasons we built this tool, is because we can, if you write a post through something like my system, you can send it to multiple platforms at the same time. Like, so if I go write a post right now, it's going to send it to Instagram, Threads, and TikTok, right? So, and you can schedule it off in the future, do all kinds of other stuff, but it makes it a lot easier to be active on all of them. So engagement matters. I can't stress that enough. Engaging content is what's going to cause your account to grow. If you don't have engaging content or you're not engaging with people, you're not going to grow. Growth is really what I think most people are after. Having your comments seen by other people is important. It's the way to do it. So I hope everybody has a great night. I hope this was helpful to somebody, and we'll see you soon.